Today we continue our Under the Influence triple feature series with Bryan Bertino's 2020 possession allegory for the trials and turmoil of taking on the role of caregiver for a loved one. The wind chimes are clanging, the demonic doppelgangers are creeping, and the pressures of giving all of yourself to someone against the worst possible odds, like a healthcare-hating devil in this case, wreak emotional havoc as we meet the literally shadowed Prince of Darkness himself in the dark and the wicked.
You're listening to How I Met Your Monster, a podcast that explores the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. My name's Zach.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Casey.
And together we dive into the world of horror to find out how filmmakers have introduced us to our favorite monsters time and time again. This is How I Met Your Monster.
Boss, you opened it. We came.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left.
Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others.
Call you meatloaf! Surprise, Sydney.
Hello and welcome to How I Met Your Monster, the show where we discuss the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. We are on part 2 of our Under the Influence triple feature series, where we watched The Dark and the Wicked. Mm-hmm. Casey, you picked this movie.
I did, yeah.
Why?
Because I love it.
It is a very Casey, Casey movie. It's dark.
It is, isn't it?
It's sad. It's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting because I was like, we talked about this earlier, how I didn't really like anticipate the tone.
Yeah.
And then obviously figured it out. And I was like, well, what the hell was I think? Casey chose it.
Yeah, exactly.
Casey doesn't always pick like dour movies, but I do know like of the three of us, she's the one to
I do have a tendency
lean in that direction.
Yeah. And this one just kind of spells it out for you right in the title. It's Dark and Wicked. So I don't know what else to expect from this.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting too. My uncle is in hospice right now. So watching this was like...
Yeah.
Hit a nerve.
I'm not super close with him. But yeah, I was like, I wonder if a demon's going to try to possess my uncle.
Well...
That's what those are the kinds of thoughts that hospice puts in our heads.
Yep. Man, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, he's been sick for
that.
a while. I just... like I said, I'm not really close to him. I'm more worried about my mom because we lost my grandma a few months ago, and now her brother. But she's okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about like movies like this. There's been like a lot of, I don't know. I've been, especially like over the past few years, there's been a big conversation, and sometimes a lot of like contention too about horror movies that are kind of allegories for grief and trauma. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that conversation really picked up quite a bit, especially with, like the kinds of movies A24 puts out. I feel like those ones get called out a lot, like The Witch, where they are horror, by definition, like the genre, but they lean heavily into kind of these I don't know. We talked about this recently. There's like a distinction between what we might call elevated horror versus horror, because horror, the genre has always used like monsters and gore and all of that to kind of as like a gateway into talking about these darker issues that are more grounded in things that like are more universal.
Right.
I can't remember what we landed on, like what made that distinction, but this one definitely feels like that would fit into that category.
Yeah. Well, I think, like that term elevated horror, I think all they started doing was just blending more drama elements into the horror genre. Like they're basically like drama movies with horror undertones. Maybe undertones is a little too much to say.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But they lean more heavily on the drama.
And maybe there's more room for interpretation. Like it's kind of open for interpretation of like, maybe this didn't really happen the way it wasn't as literal, like maybe there wasn't a monster. I'm not sure if that fits with this movie, because I think it's pretty clear that there's some like external force affecting them that isn't just grief and trauma and stress. But maybe that's also kind of like a big defining factor for something that is like quote unquote elevated horror. Yeah. As you know, like the difference between The Thing and The Witch is that there's clearly a defined monster in The Thing, whereas in The Witch it could just be like the emotional toll that the events in that movie have kind of put on the family.
Yeah. And this one was written and directed by Bryan Bertino, who also made The Strangers. He also made a movie called The Monster. Did you guys see that?
No.
I hadn't. I actually, Zach, wanted to watch that when we were working on Cottonmouth.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
Because it was about, as far as I know, it was kind of a limited location movie about a person fending off a monster. And I was like, oh, well, that feels
they're like trapped in a car, I think.
Inspiration.
Yeah, kind of like a Cujo thing.
Yeah, totally. But no, for whatever reason, I did not end up watching it.
Yeah, I missed it too. And, but like The Stranger, this and The Strangers,
similar.
I don't know why his movies have to be so mean. They're just mean.
Somebody's got to do it.
And he's a great filmmaker. He's a great filmmaker. Like, man, there's so much talent on the screen and behind the camera and everything. Like, oh my gosh, they're so well made. But just like, why you got to be so mean?
Yeah, you're not here to have fun in this movie at all.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed it more on the second viewing than the first one. Casey, I think the first time I watched it, you had recommended it to me and I think you had said like, it's just terrifying. It was so scary.
Yeah.
And
it's still spooky to me.
So I went in like with like a very high expectation of being scared. And that never works out when you go into a movie with.
Yeah, I'll just quit telling you.
You know what I mean?
My opinions on things.
Okay, good. Thank you. No, don't do that. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
No matter, like, what did we do the other day? We talked about it a few weeks. Men. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where it was like, holy shit, that movie blew my mind, but still nothing could top the, whatever was in my head, even though I didn't know what it was in my head, just because it's whatever. But anyways, going into it, having seen it once before, still, the only reason I don't like it is because it's just mean and it's so dark. But other than that, like, it's very well made and it's a really great story. It's just, man.
So with that being said, Danny, this was the first time you watched it. Did you like this movie?
I did. I did not know what to expect. Obviously, I knew it was a possession movie because of our triple feature. Mm-hmm. Really liked it. It's really dark. Mm-hmm. And it was very disturbing. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Well, really enjoyed it in the sense that I enjoyed like the approach it took on doing a possession movie. It was something that I hadn't really seen before, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the whole like, taking care of a family member and that burden and what that represents. Mm-hmm. But as like a vibe and like a mood and how I left the movie, man, I didn't feel great, but I think that was the point.
That's what I love. Yeah. It's so funny to me. I don't know. I'm just so strange, I guess. So can I tell you guys what I really love about this movie?
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
Please.
So aside from that, I do love the dark and dreary. I like feeling uncomfortable. This movie did scare me. It still does when I watch it. Like there are parts that still freak me out. And you guys know that I don't like seeing what I'm afraid of. And I think that's why I like possession movies, because they're using people as a vessel. So you're not usually seeing the entity or the demon or whatever it is that you're supposed to be afraid of. Right. So, there are parts in this movie that still genuinely freak me out, especially thinking about we'll get to it when we do the reveals, but so good. Another thing that I love about it is I love a movie. First of all, 1.5 hour runtime. You guys know I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I love movies like this that do not require any kind of backstory. And then there's also these characters aren't going into like, oh, we got to figure out this ancient XYZ and solve this thing and you know what I mean? And it's not that at all. It's these people are freaking out. They have no idea what the fuck to do. So they don't do anything.
Okay.
And they just are like so fucked up because of what's going on. They have no idea how to deal with it. So they just keep.
Do you like movies that lean more into the emotional journey rather than the mystery, the physical journey?
I mean, I certainly like those movies too, but these kinds of movies like this are a lot more rare. You know, so like that's why I really do like it when movies like that.
And it's a gamble doing a movie like that because I mean, you are you're not giving your audience
answers.
A lot of answers, but also a lot of like room to breathe too, because it's so dark and because it's you're dealing with a topic that hits close to home for a lot of people. I mean, you literally just brought up the fact that your uncle is in hospice. You know, these are things, these are real things. So to kind of, you know, for someone maybe who hasn't experienced that, these movies are good at kind of evoking that emotional response from that type of audience member where it's like, okay, you may not understand how horrifying and terrible and what this does to you. Let me show you, you know, like this is the best I can do. Obviously we're being very literal, like these are monsters, but sometimes that is kind of how it could feel. And this is like a great way to kind of get that out of, you know, I already said it, but like evoking that emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like a small movie. And I don't mean that in terms of like budget or whatever, but just like the world of this movie. Like we're just in this, you know, this one farmhouse and we're on this farm and it's just like it's just a normal family. And it's just very small. It's nothing grand and
small cast.
Yeah, Brian Bertino seems attracted to that type of thing, you know, with strangers. And even though we hadn't seen the monster, we
it's
another limited location.
Yeah, which I also really like movies like that. Especially when they can do something
it's like
great.
Being like emotionally claustrophobic. We talk about claustrophobia a lot. And he seems to like to do that with less, not like literally claustrophobic, but just feeling confined and stuck with your personal problems that maybe either people don't understand or can't help with for whatever reason. Which is kind of scarier. Well, that's terrifying.
Well, you do kind of feel stuck on that farm. Like, even though either one of them could leave at whatever moment, like they're not. And it's just, you feel like
what happens when they did. So,
which is I know we're kind of jumping, that's literally the end, but that is a great way to show how it's that burden, you know, quote unquote burden. I don't mean that as like, it just because someone's sick doesn't mean that, you know, sometimes, you know, you want to help your family, like, but it is still a burden by definition.
Of course.
So then to leave that, you still then, okay, maybe you don't have the burden, but the burden has sort of manifested itself in a different way. Now it's guilt. You know, if you do leave, it's still there. It's still haunting you. Your life will completely change because of it, because now that's who you are as a person. You're either a person who stepped in to help unplanned because, you know, you can't anticipate these things all the time, or you're the person who walked away and left them for whatever reason.
Right.
So it's just, it's end of life care is necessary and it's inevitable, but it is scary and it comes with a lot of baggage, whether you like it or not, whether you care, no matter how hard you care for someone. I mean, that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
It's just life. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, well, this sure is dark and wicked, I'll tell you.
So let's meet those monsters.
Let's meet the monsters.
Yes.
That's also, I will say, with this movie, as dark as it is, I think one thing that I was really pleased with and happy to see was it really leans into the, there's like a funhouse horror element to it that oddly fits here.
Funhouse.
In that, like,
please
like,
explain. Please explain.
You know, like lights flickering, creatures in the shadows, jump scares, sound of, you know, like sound, like really leaning into, it's not just there to kind of make you feel miserable. It is there to kind of elicit, you know, scares and, you know, get you kind of all rattled. And it worked for me, at least. And I guess Casey said it scared the shit out of her. So,
yes.
And once it picks up, I mean, we're going to get into it, but once it does pick up, it's unrelenting.
Yes.
which is nice because it is a slow burn. This movie
It
is
is, yeah.
slow, and it's just slow burn. That just is. Some movies are that.
Yep.
But once it hits the ground, it's like, whew, it doesn't let go.
Yeah.
Yep.
As Rose would have said on the Titanic door.
Yeah.
Funny.
Okay, but before we get into this movie and meet our monster, there are a few things I'd like to talk about. Fangoria. If you would like to help support our show and get some great horror content through Fangoria magazine and all of its great merch, visit shop.fangoria.com/howimetyourmonster and enter promo code howimetyourmonster at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your whole cart. So you get a savings.
Zach, do you know what I love about Fangoria?
What do you love, Danny? The fangs?
It's dark. I love the fangs, but specifically
the gore?
It's dark.
Or the
and it's wicked.
It's dark. It is dark and wicked.
You know?
Mm-hmm. But also fun. It's also like a fun house. Just like this movie. It's dark, wicked, but it's got a fun house vibe.
Did Bryan Bertino direct Fangoria?
Maybe. I don't know.
Wait, I'm flipping through Fangoria. I'm subscribed. And I'm flipping through the latest issue. Every article is written by Bryan Bertino.
Whoa.
And each article starts with it says action, and then at the end it says cut.
Interesting.
What a choice. And what a stupid little bit.
I was going to say, talking about choices, this bit. No, but make sure to visit shop.fangoria.com/howimetyourmonster for 20% off with promo code howimetyourmonster. You will get some great horror content, and you'll help support How I Met Your Monster in the process. And if you're a fan of the show, make sure to head to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review and rating. And that really helps our show because it ranks us higher in search results. So people who are looking for fun horror podcasts can find us a lot easier. So those reviews really help in that way, and we would really appreciate that. And lastly, before we get into this, we have a new email address, you guys.
What?
Wow.
How I Met Your Monster Podcast @gmail.com. So write to us, send us questions, send us monsters that you want to see on the show, send us stories that you have about your own personal monsters. Maybe don't get too crazy. Come on, people.
Yeah, I take it back. Don't send us anything. I don't want to fucking hear. No, I'm kidding.
No, we love to hear from you guys.
We like to talk, but we love to read. So send us something to gander.
Yes, we do love. We love reading.
Peruse.
Danny loves to write and read, and I like reading.
Yep.
Casey has eyeballs. I don't know if she reads or not.
Yeah. Subtitles on the TV I read.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's essential these days.
I like reading the room. You know, like when you're in like a situation, you don't even have to be in a physical room, but you read the room.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
So reading in general, we love it. So if you can write us something, we'll read it and we'll be happy. And then you'll be happy because we'll put out good content. We'll feel good about it. And the world's going to go around and horror lovers everywhere will unite and everything will be
perfect.
Exactly. See, basically,
Wonderful.
You can save the world by sending us emails at howimetyourmonsterpodcast @gmail.com.
You alone have that power.
So we look forward to hearing from you and hearing your thoughts. So without further ado, are you guys ready to get super dark and super wicked?
Let's fucking do it.
Super dark,
Wicked
super
dark.
wicked. Let's do it.
Let's
Wicked dark,
Let's
man.
get wicked dark.
Let's get wicked dark.
All right, let's meet this monster. So Casey, you picked this movie. So before we count up our reveals that we're going to cover in this movie, can you please read the synopsis of The Dark and the Wicked? The Dark and the Wicked.
The Dark and the Wicked.
Wicked dark.
On a secluded farm in a nondescript rural town, a man is slowly dying. His family gathers to mourn, and soon a darkness
we're in Long
grows.
Island now.
You moved.
It's dark and wicked, and he's really sad.
Fine, I'll start over
So
in my
talk
regular
amongst
voice.
yourselves. No, I love it.
Well, it's too late. You interrupted me.
No, do it. Do it all.
Do I have to
Long
start
Island.
over?
Boston.
I love the Massachusetts Long Islander. It's great.
I don't know. I am not familiar with either one really. So, I'm sorry.
To be honest, it's kind of like Connecticut. I always wondered, Connecticut doesn't have an accent, but every now and then you meet people. I'm like, what is that? Is that Boston? Is that New York? Is it Long? What are you? And I guess Connecticut's like the mayonnaise in the sandwich. It's just, it shouldn't be there. Nope. But it is, and it's weird.
I thought I was doing Boston because I was really channeling my Julianne Moore from 30 Rock.
Oh,
you guys
perfect.
Do it. Oh, please.
Read it as Julianne Moore from 30 Rock.
Well,
and scene.
Now I'm not as into it.
Oh, get into it.
But I was doing it. And
Come on, get Doc and Wicked.
You guys were yelling at me because it was wrong.
Come on, we got to get Doc and Wicked.
Get super Doc and super Wicked.
Get super Doc, super Wicked. Say hi to your mother for me.
On a secluded farm in a nondescript rural town, a man is slowly dying. His family gathers to mourn, and soon a darkness grows, marked by waking nightmares and a growing sense that something evil is taking over their family.
I almost fucking lost it. You fucking did the same exact thing.
Yeah, I know. It sounded all the same to me. Are you from Boston? Perfect. No. Are you from Long Island? No. How do you know what they sound like? Leave me alone.
It was beautiful. That
was so funny.
It was beautiful. The fact that I got such a good laugh out of it, like.
I know Zach's like, I almost lost it. I'm like, you lost it.
Yeah.
You did lose it.
It's the very phrase you used to hear all the time. I don't know. We used to hear it this time. Maybe a lot of people laughed at me. I don't know, but it used to be, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you.
Oh, yeah. That's what bullies say.
Or as Bob's Burgers would have said, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing around you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't want to bully you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
Oh. You guys used to bully me.
Excuse me?
Your friends used to bully me.
My friends used to bully me.
Mm-hmm.
No, my friends were bullies, dude. I mean, I'm not friends with those people anymore, but...
My friends were fucking bullies, too.
Zach, I'm sorry if I bullied you. It was probably because I felt pressured by my bully friends to be a bully. Because I realized...
I'm sorry if I bullied you, because I was bullied by my friends. So,
all right. I get it, man.
Well, I'm not sorry that I bullied you. There needs to be one outlier here.
Okay, so today's monster, which we haven't really discussed yet, is the devil.
It's the devil.
It's the devil.
Satan.
What, the devil?
It's the devil. And this time he's not in an elevator. He is on a farm.
No.
He's on a farm.
Yep. And
it's
this
really
movie,
making the rounds.
The Dark and the Wicked, by my count, and I think by your count too, Casey, has 13 reveals.
Yes.
Not by my count.
And an honorable mention. Danny, how many reveals did you come up with?
Got 10.
10. Okay.
But it could have something to do with me struggling. I don't know how to count.
Well, there were there's some very quick reveals in this, which literally like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
Okay.
So maybe there was some in there that
and I couldn't stop blinking throughout this movie.
You're a blinker.
So
I mean,
could have something.
What can you say?
Turn me left because I'm a blinker. I don't know.
Better than right, I guess.
All right. So, so actually our first reveal comes within, I don't know,
1 minute.
2 minutes, 1 minute of the movie. Is that the one you missed, Danny?
Missed that one.
Yep.
I'm like looking at my notes. I'm like,
So it is the devil. The first time we see the devil, you got all the goats, sheep. They're sheep, right?
They're goats.
Sheep. Are they goats?
Lambs.
Lambs.
No, that's...
What's the difference?
I mean, I thought they were goats.
Lamb sheep.
A lamb is a baby sheep.
Okay. Well...
Farm animals.
I think they're goats. Yeah, because some of them have horns.
Yes,
right?
they do.
Yeah, farm animals of a similar species.
That's right.
There might be sheep and goats. Who knows?
That's true. so they're kind of going nuts, right? And there's a lot, they're in the barn and they're going nuts. And there's lots of quick cuts of them running back and forth. And in those quick cuts, there is I don't know, maybe 3 frames.
Yeah, very short.
Of the devil in his like bald head and glowing eyes. And he's just like down at the level of the sheep / goats / lambs.
Just crouched in there with all of them.
And he's and it's like the color like blends in, like the color of his skin blends in kind of with the color of the fur. And it's so quick. And I rewound it. I was watching it and I was like, did I just see something? And like I rewound it and I was like, I tried to pause it on the thing and I was like, oh my God, he's in there like right out of the gate.
Yep.
He's right in there.
Because I know they kind of they establish a lot of things to kind of tell us that the devil's around. So they have those wind chimes on the barn and they go off pretty erratically, and the sheep or the lambs or the goats, whatever they may be, tend to like get all, frazzled. But I did not know that we literally see him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love the beginning of this movie because we've talked before, specifically when we covered The Village, like how much a lack of music or score can do for something. And there's like, I guess there's probably some ambiance like stuff going on, but there's not really any music in this part.
Yeah.
And so you just get the wind chimes the wind chimes, the bottles and stuff that are hanging on the doors to the barn. And they're super loud.
Hung up. She has those hung up, I think for wolves, right?
Yeah.
To alert them if a predator
Something
comes
gets in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's so quiet other than that. And then, it's just not having any music. I don't know. It's very impactful to me. I like it when movies do that.
Yeah.
Well, it feels real. It's sort of like we're hearing what the characters are hearing.
Right.
And like the movie's not telling us.
Yeah.
It's not warning us.
That's the problem with real life. There's no danger music.
There's no danger music. Are we going to talk about the cable guy again today?
We'll find a way to work a Jim Carrey into
That's a
this
movie monster, right? We'll fit him in somewhere.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like when it comes in later in the movie too, about like wolves and sheep, and he's the brother who doesn't believe in God, and the priest who says, "Do you think the wolf cares if you think he's a wolf or not?" Like, no, he's gonna fucking attack because he knows what he is, whatever that may be.
So when the devil shows up as disguised as the people, is that supposed to be like the wolf in sheep's clothing?
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Movie, you did it again.
He's a sneaky little fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like shows up and he's like, "Hi.
You just thought this movie was
I'm
dark.
your neighbor."
But it's also smart.
It's smart and dark.
Smart, it's dark.
But here's a question. And it might, we might learn some things as we talk more about this. The siblings, the daughter and the son.
Louise and Michael.
Thank you. They show up, and this might be a better question for the end of this episode, but I'm going to ask it now and we can think on it.
We can revisit it if we need to.
Were they... And I read somewhere that it's, I read a synopsis somewhere different than the IMDb one where it says the brother and sister are summoned back to the house of their dying father. Were they going to end up there no matter what? Is that just like their destiny? Do you know what I mean? To be, were they like pulled there by some force?
By Satan?
Well, okay, by Satan.
Or a phone call. I mean, there's literally scenes in this movie where people are talking and you think you're talking to one person and you find out you're actually talking to someone,
true.
The devil pretending to be someone. So maybe they were, called to be like, "Hey, your mom's really sick.
Your
dad's really sick."
But I feel like
your mom's sick of it.
I feel like they would have addressed that because the mom keeps saying, "I told you not to come." So I feel like if they were, if the devil made a phone call disguised as their mother and told them to come, then they would have brought up. But I do feel like
my question is not like, because like the mom did say, "Don't come."
Yeah,
like,
I was addressing what Danny said about
like, oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was addressing how Danny said, people were making phone calls without actually making phone calls and stuff.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that. But yeah, I do think
Right.
that yes, Satan, the force of Satan pulled them back there.
Yeah.
Which again could be sort of symbolic of or like it's supposed to represent that the guilt that you feel. It's like this
you
is
feel
my
an
duty.
obligation.
I
too.
have to obligation. That's a much better word. Yeah, like even though mom's telling me not to, maybe she doesn't really mean that. People don't usually say what they mean in these situations.
Yeah.
They don't
Right.
want to pass the burden on to someone else, especially a parent. And maybe but in this case, obviously the quote unquote twist is the mom's like, no, I literally didn't want you to come. Like,
Yeah.
'Cause she knew.
I wasn't trying to be nice. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out later that the devil can trick the people, and that's part of my question too. It's like, was it them just going there? And then when they showed up to care for their dad, even though the mom told them not to come, then it's like, oh, then they encountered the devil. And it's like, oh, now surprise, devil's in my life. And now I got to deal with that. Or did this devil force, was that already like had found them out in their own lives and pulled them in? Because we know that, like,
I think it's a fun
like
read.
the devil can trick them, which we'll find out later when Michael goes home. We know that he can be tricked. So is that?
I think all of
I don't
it
know.
can be true.
Yeah.
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 I think that's just like, obviously, like it could work either way. And I think it's,
Yeah. I don't know if there's not an answer. They don't say an answer in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys thought.
I don't think you're wrong if you were to say like, I think that's what happened. Like that's
Either
my
way,
read
yeah.
on the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's still like it's possible.
It
Yeah.
fits. It fits the
Something
bill.
pulled them there. It was either like Casey said, the obligation, the guilt, or a literal supernatural force.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. It could have worked if they had done kind of presented it as more of a reveal or a twist. Like, Casey, I think you also just said this earlier, where like if the mom had said like, or maybe if Louise had said, "Mom, you called me, you told me to come," and she would have said like, "No, I didn't," or or had said it like to kind of still leave some gray area. She could have said, like, "Oh, our neighbor Helen said that you look like you were really tied up over here. I had to come."
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out later, it's like, Helen's been dead for 5 months. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know. Just something to think about. But our next reveal is the devil again in the doorway.
Yes.
In the shadows, which is really cool because I think it's Louise is walking back and forth because the door blew open through the wind.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know why I didn't count this one.
Yeah, I don't know either, Danny.
Danny.
It's pretty.
I noticed it. I liked it. I made notes about it, but I didn't officially clock it as a
reveal. Yeah, because like you walk by one way and there's nobody in the doorway, I think, and then you walk by and there's a shadow of the devil, and then she crosses again and it's the shadow of the mom. Or maybe it's just the devil right out of the gate and then the mom. I don't know if it's an empty doorway at all, but
right. But is it always though? Is it always just the mom? Do you think?
Right. Okay.
Or just the devil?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. It's
that begs some questions that I want to bring up later about. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
I have some questions about how these people are used by the devil. What is considered illusion? What is possession? What is all of that? So we'll get into that later because there's a scene later that is a little bit more specific to that.
Okay. Well, so Louise and Michael are there at the house. They're deciding how long they want to stay. The mom says you shouldn't have come anyways. And over the course of that night, that was Monday. That was Monday night. The mom, she just chops off those little carrot digits, those little baby carrots that she calls fingers.
Yes.
She just chops it. And she doesn't just chop them off. She chops them up.
She
Gordon Ramsay. She chopping broccoli.
Well, I just got a new kitchen knife lately, and I've been trying to look up like cutting techniques.
Oh yeah.
So she actually implements a various techniques. So she goes from chopping to dicing. She doesn't quite reach mincing, but
okay.
I think if she wasn't maybe compelled to go to the barn and hang herself, maybe she could have gone a little further.
Minced him.
Yeah. But she needs to put that knuckle. She needs to use the knuckle there to protect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my biggest fears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's, part of the thing is like cutting your knuckles better than cutting your fingertip
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Just cut your knuckle off so that your finger like dangles.
I did not. Oh.
Yeah. You don't need your knuckles.
You don't. No, they're just. Okay. What case?
The first two Sonic the Hedgehog games have made that very clear. You do not always need your knuckles.
Yeah, you don't need knuckles.
So I did not.
Danny,
count
are you
the hanging.
promoting the new Knuckles television show on Paramount Plus?
Yeah, and also the fact that Knuckles will be appearing in the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Knuckles was in the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
And I'm just promoting the fact that Knuckles was in part 2 of Sonic the Hedgehog movie and will be returning in part 3.
Okay, Casey, I'm so sorry. Continue.
You're not sorry.
I just like the Sonic movies. I'm sorry.
I like the Sonic movie too. I love Ben Schwartz. Hello.
Hello.
So I did not have the hanging as any kind of reveal. Did you?
No.
Okay.
No,
but it does need to be mentioned, obviously, because it's very, very big
Oh, yeah.
story.
Yeah.
I love the scene when they find her. Yeah, I know. I'm awful.
No, it's super effective.
No, I'm just because it's like it was a good, like it was impactful scene.
Yeah, I loved the silhouettes. Like there's no music again. Silhouettes, slow, like push out, and yeah, I just really liked it.
Yeah.
I think it works so well because, like we kind of talked about earlier, it is such a slow burn movie. So personally, like I didn't anticipate something so. I guess I thought her cutting her fingers was like, she's hallucinating.
Right.
She's like losing it.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
But the fact that this is actually kind of like the inciting incident of the movie,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh no, this character is now dismissed
Yeah.
from the story
Yeah.
for the most part. And this is where it starts kind of, it hits the ground running and we're in the shit now. Like this is it. This is a possession movie. It is going to be going nonstop from here on out.
Yeah.
So I was actually pretty shocked and I was pleased in a kind of morbid way to see them go that dark that quickly.
Of course.
Okay. That is kind of morbid, Danny.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You're like cutting your fingers off. That's the best
look who
you
you're
got.
talking to.
Come on. How do we heighten this? How do we?
So Louise like moves that bucket over so that she can stand up to cut the thing.
Right.
And I love that like she doesn't move it far enough, really. Like she's on the edge of it, kind of like tipping over. And then later we find out that Michael's like, how did she get up there anyways? Because like you moved the bucket across.
Yeah. Right.
Like how did
There's
she
nothing
get up
under
there
her
to
to
hang her?
stand on.
Yeah. That kind of gave me like
Those are always the scenes that freak me out the most because it like you were talking about this earlier, Zach, how once the idea is planted in your head, what that is sometimes much scarier than maybe what you could see on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And something as simple as just like, it's horrible. It's obviously someone being hanged, but like just the physical like movement of someone, like, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, what happened in that moment? What did it look like? That's spooky.
Mm-hmm. But then, so Tuesday goes really quickly. With the little title
Tuesday's
card, it's like Tuesday's gone. Leonard Skinner was on that form. But like, the title cards are like Monday, and then like a bunch happens, and then it was like Tuesday, then like the mom dead, then it's like Wednesday. I was like, oh shit. Tuesday was a fast
Well,
day.
they were just dealing with that,
Yeah, it was a rough day. Tuesday was rough.
It's usually how fast my work week feels.
But our next reveal comes, by my calculations, comes in the form of Louise's dad, maybe, in the shower.
Yes.
That's my first one.
Which Louise, oh my gosh, she's like in the shower. She hears somebody come in the bathroom. She's like, "Can I get a minute?" or something like that. And then she just throws open the shower curtain.
She gives herself a jump scare.
Yeah.
Well, she
but
also exposes herself.
Exactly.
that
I'm
what-
like, okay, it's either your dad or your brother. Why are you just like whipping the shower curtain open? Wouldn't you just like peek your head out and be like,
Yeah,
hey,
well,
God,
All right, I have a question.
Leave me alone.
Is Louise an exhibitionist?
maybe.
Could be. She did work at the post office, so you never know.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Oh, come on. You know about post offices.
Oh, come
You
on.
know.
You know about post offices.
You know. Have you ever seen the back of a post office? Do you know what goes on back there?
Oh shit.
What are you saying? That people fuck in the post office?
Danny wrote a whole script about it.
Yeah.
About people fucking in the back of the post office?
Yep. Or delivering mail.
Wait, do I have the wrong definition of what an exhibitionist is?
Maybe.
Well, what
Maybe
you
I do though. I'm thinking an exhibitionist is someone who shows them, likes to present themselves to people naked.
That's a
Yeah,
flasher.
I thought she. Oh yeah, I was
A
thinking that
flasher.
the people in the post office just get naked in the back. That's what I thought.
Oh, I thought you were implying like they.
It's like-
this is
I
such
mean,
a
yes.
stretch of where my brain went. I thought you meant like because they work at the post office, it's like advantageous for them because they can like put pictures of themselves naked into like slip it into people's letters. So
Oh,
that, like,
you did,
like,
yeah.
Open their mail, like oh god.
You did take a stretch there. I just thought it was like a Santa's workshop kind of thing with a bunch of elves in the back of a post office, but they're all naked.
them being naked, that is what exhibitionism is, but that just didn't make any sense to me because nobody can fucking see you in the back of the post office. So
Well, she doesn't work at the post office anymore because she
You're
left
right,
to
she
go
doesn't.
to care for her dying father. So she throws open the shower curtain and we get our next reveal of the dad possessed or,
Yep.
you know, he probably wasn't even there. It was probably the devil just fucking with her.
right.
But he presents himself in the
As
form
Papa.
of her father with like a weird head shaking
Shaky head.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he pees himself in that scene, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Does she check to see if he peed himself in bed to kind of
I don't think so.
No.
prove whether or not she's home? Because she does it later. There's a scene later when we'll get to it, but she kind of like, and maybe that's what prompted it. Maybe she's thinking like, I didn't check last time. I should keep my eyes open for proof that like dad is actually walking around.
Yeah.
Right. But
I think I'm answering my own question.
so our Under the Influence triple feature of possession movies very clearly does not feature The Exorcist, which
No.
one might consider to be the quintessential
are-
possession movie.
Taking to the streets over that, by the way.
But we pay homage to that movie in
With-
the form of
with
the
the
doc,
pee-pee scene?
form of the Doc and the Wicked, with the pee-pee scene with the dad
Yeah.
peeing his pants.
Yeah, like Reagan going downstairs and peeing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, where is he going with this? I didn't put that together.
It was a little, it was kind of a stretch, but
There's a little out there, but
there. So there's your little Exorcist bit in our.
there's also like
feature.
the fact that like, you know, the movies contain possession. So, you know,
Yeah.
that can also be a
that-
nod
that also
to
connects
The
it.
Exorcist. Yeah.
Did you guys know that any movie that features a character peeing themselves is actually a possession movie, even if they don't necessarily explore that subgenre
Really
or
interesting.
story or characters
Interesting.
or even
I
mention a
Don't
devil?
believe you.
It's a fact.
Okay. My honorable mention is next.
Oh my God, is it?
Is yours not?
Oh, I feel like I know what
No,
it is. Because I was
this
going to
is-
say, I feel like we should mention this, even though it's not necessarily revealed, because it sets up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Casey, this is crazy that we have the same amount of reveals and an honorable mention, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Okay. What's your honorable mention for this? What's your reveal?
My honorable mention is when Louise reads through her mom's journal
Totally.
Oh, see, I have that
Because-
as a.
as a reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I have Michael
okay.
reads the mom's diary and he says, devil, devil, devil.
Oh, but that's later.
I would.
Did I just maybe it was Elise.
I'm gonna go with Casey on this as more of an honorable mention because it doesn't like prove anything.
Right.
It's
She
still
just-
sort of just like suggesting it.
Right.
Okay.
But is it, you know, she hanged herself. So is she just cuckoo bananas?
Yeah. Is there something wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
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 I mean, they do spell it out though. I mean, Louise says that, or whoever's is it Michael who reads it or Louise?
I have Michael reads his mom's diary, and then I wrote devil, devil, devil.
In this next part?
All right. Because it's
That's your next
specifically
reveal?
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh.
They specifically mentioned that the mom said that she sees the devil in the shadows and that the devil wants David's soul. And then like later they kind of expand on that and say that the devil like just won't leave them alone.
Okay.
So they're setting up the fact that like the devil's there, but it's technically not a reveal. It's sort of. Is it the first mention of the devil?
Yes.
Interesting.
And that's why I put it down, because it was like, oh, they're telling us who our monster is, the devil.
So maybe it is an honorable mention though, because it's sort of setting it up. Yeah. It's like we know who we're going to meet, but we haven't quite met them yet. You know, just because you read the book doesn't mean you met the character. You know, so that's a famous saying, right?
It is now. It's going to be.
One of the bags worth two in the bush.
Bushel and a peck and a hug around your neck.
That's it.
That's the one. Yeah. We nailed it. We got it.
Yeah. So it's definitely an honorable mention.
Yeah. Okay. The spider? What about the spider crawling out of the fucking dad's mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty.
You like that?
Gosh. I didn't count that as, not a reveal, but just like a.
Yeah.
I counted that as a reveal.
Did you?
What? Danny.
Well, because it's the first time Louise sees something, because her seeing the dad in the shower could have just been either a hallucination or dad is sick and maybe he's sleepwalking or something. I don't know.
Okay.
This one is actually like to see spiders crawling out of someone's mouth is like, it's not quite a supernatural experience, but it's nearly supernatural.
Well, I don't think the spider was real.
I don't think it was either.
But the fact that she saw it.
Okay.
And weren't there more than one spider?
I think it was just the one that time.
It was just one.
There's more spiders later, but.
Yeah, but the one spider, I mean, if you're somebody's not moving and a spider crawls out of their mouth, I wouldn't think it was the devil.
Okay.
I'd just be like, wow,
fair.
Weird.
So I have 9 reveals in this movie, you guys. Not 10.
They're dropping like flies, dropping like spiders.
Like spiders.
All right. Well.
So that brings us to what I called Michael's bedtime shenanigans.
Yeah.
And I call it the shenanigans because like there's like a lot that happens in this scene. It's not just like a one.
This was the
one-off.
Funhouse. When I was mentioning Funhouse earlier, this is where I was kind of like my brain was going. And I meant that as a compliment, by the way, just to be clear.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I totally knew you meant it as a compliment. I just didn't know why you said Funhouse, but it makes sense because
Funhouse. Dan, it's depressing. It's not fun.
Okay. There's nothing fun about this farmhouse. But this scene...
It's technically not even a house. It's more of a bungalow. It's a sad bungalow.
This scene was one that freaked me out with the lights.
Yeah.
Going on and off. And his blanket just didn't seem comfortable.
Yeah, scratchy.
I didn't notice.
His blanket seemed scratchy.
Well, a lot of the stuff in this house felt scratchy and uncomfortable and makeshift. And this is not a warm place to be.
It's not. It's not a comfortable environment.
And not just because of what's happening to David, the dad.
Well, and part of going back to the very beginning of this episode where we were talking about it like being a small movie about like a normal family, whatever, like that's like, I mean, houses are like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A normal person's, like I say normal, but like an average person's house isn't always put together, like pristine, everything in the right, it's put together. Like you live in it and you do things here and you do things there. And then it all kind of just, it makes you your own, it gives your house character. And it's, so this house definitely
unless you're like me
character.
and you have a problem where you don't like your house to look like it's lived in.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know you had that.
See, we're like kind of the way I grew up and the way we are now. It's kind of like when you're having guests over, like you clean it until it doesn't look lived in.
Yeah, no, mine usually looks like that. 95% of the time, my house looks like nobody lives here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I can't.
See, it's funny. I like things feeling not messy, but I need to feel lived in. Otherwise, I feel like I'm like not home. Yeah. Like I'm not in my space.
I mean, I don't like my couch blankets aren't always folded, but like
the face. Do you just have
my dishes are always done. Huh?
Do you just like have half-eaten apples sitting on the counter?
No, I don't, but I wouldn't care if somebody else were to do that somewhere
Do you know
else.
what I'll say? I like organized clutter. You know,
Organized clutter?
Everything has a place, but it's not a mess. It's just, this is where everything goes. I think as long as things are clean, I'm happy.
See, I think like my like OCD, like I have like a little bit of it. It's not like debilitating, but I was talking to Nina about this. I think it's getting worse. Like now that I'm home all the time with Indy, where it's like, I just can't,
No,
things
that's
have
why,
to be,
Yeah. Yep.
it's like hard to get anything done because you're just like cleaning up all the time.
Yeah.
But the fucking scratchy blanket.
Scratchy blanket.
Scratchy blanket.
Yeah. I don't like scratchy blankets.
But so we get the lights going on and off. We get a very, I would say terrifying scene where he looks out the window and he sees his mom and she starts floating.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
What is that about?
Not quite as, she doesn't float quite as high as she does in the poster, but that's okay. Posters are there to enhance.
That's the mom
know,
in the poster. I never connected the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, it totally makes sense. I just never,
That's okay, Zach.
yeah.
Hey, we're not going to hold it against you.
Well, good.
It's okay.
Because then the mom stops floating and makes her way inside the house.
Well, first we hear, when he kind of moves away from the window, we hear her singing that song that she sang earlier while she was cooking. That sent chills down my spine.
They sing that in another movie. Do you guys know what movie that is?
Do you know?
I do know, but like I can't think of it. You know what I mean? I want to say The Stand. I want to say it's The Stand.
I read The Stand recently, but I haven't watched The Stand recently, so I'm of no help.
Yeah. It's like, what if we have in Jesus?
It's not Evil Dead? With the Deadite singing the...
No, I really, like, my mind keeps going back to The Stand. I really think it's The Stand. But I guess it's not important.
Stephen King's The Stand? More like Stephen Sings. There's a song in it. Why didn't he change his name to
Are we
Sings?
looking it up here?
There's a song in it.
Yeah, but I don't have any luck.
But there is a mom who dies.
Spoiler alert, bro.
Spoiler, The Stand, it's like everybody fucking dies pretty much.
Everyone dies.
Like it's
in
like
that
a
movie.
fucking plague that
Well,
goes
I
through and
didn't know
kills
that.
everybody.
I mean, I really didn't
It's about
know
the end of
that.
the world.
I didn't know that. But it sounds like I would have
You
really
might
enjoyed
like The
it.
Stand. I think you might actually enjoy The Stand.
Yeah, that's funny.
In all fairness, it's a mini series, so it doesn't
It
technically
is a
count.
miniseries that came out in 1994, which is like 30 years
So
ago.
can I tell you guys everything that happens in True Detective?
That's brand new. That's not 1994.
So what? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
I love the Jerry Seinfeld. It's brand new. What's the deal with spoilers?
Okay, well, we will we'll move on. Okay, so back to the show here. We hear the mom singing What a Friend We Have in Jesus. I think that's the name of the song. And then he like looks into the rest of the house. Like he opens the door, I think, and looks out into the house. And then she's like behind him. Mm-hmm. But then he turns around and she's not there. Mm-hmm. So it's that fucking devil again, that pesky little shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is the question I was going to ask earlier, was about when we saw that silhouette of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Or we remember it was like, we were like, oh, that's the devil. Oh no, it's Virginia. Or maybe it's just the devil as Virginia.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned this earlier that I kind of wanted to expand on it just a smidge. Is the devil just, when we see like Virginia outside and later we see some other characters who turn out to not actually be them, are we seeing the devil impersonating them, or is their soul taken over and now they are kind of stuck? Like, did by killing herself, did Virginia actually save her soul, or did she trap her soul with the devil?
Well, no, because I think the devil made her kill herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think it was like a way out for her. I think the devil was like, hey, do this.
Yeah.
You know?
But he just wants, as far as we know, at least that's what's been established. And I'm not saying that like he couldn't get more, you know? but he wants David. So is he getting Virginia out of the way?
Yes.
To be like, listen, I don't fucking need to collect your soul. Fuck you.
But also the more the merrier.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. So then I was like, when we see Virginia, is that her, like, it is technically Virginia, like the mom, but she's also possessed. So it's sort of like a combination of things. Like it's this like demonic version of her, or is it just like the devil's like, I just have this special power. I can pretend I'm your mom, but she's somewhere else. Okay.
I think it's just the devil because
I think he's just making them see things.
Like that would mean that the body would still be at the house.
Right. Well, he's saying her spirit is possessed.
I just mean it as, yeah, exactly. I mean it more of it like being the soul, the spirit.
Gotcha.
It's not a physical manifestation of her.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess there's just my way of reading it was like, it's either less sad for Virginia. I mean, it's all sad. Like she still is dead. She's either her soul is free, because they talk about that later. So they've established the conversation about like your soul and being protected. So like either her soul is free or it's trapped in hell. And one obviously is much darker. And that's where I was wondering, like, what version of this story are we seeing?
Right. I think that's good because she didn't like kill herself to just end it and move on. The devil made her do it. So I think that in my interpretation, he has her soul, whatever he does with those souls or whatever. I don't know. Shoves pineapples up their asses. I don't know.
Listen, Zach, that is disgusting. We do not shove pineapples up our assholes. We shove M&Ms up our assholes. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
A lot less painful.
Right. That's disgusting.
Ow.
M&M's that's not.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, little Nicky.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, by the way. We don't kink shame. You can put anything up your butt.
Danny had no idea.
Oh, I did not remember that reference.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Little Nicky since like high school.
I haven't either. Not an excuse, Danny.
Sorry.
So my next reveal that I have listed is Louise's shadow in the barn.
Yeah.
She goes out to the barn.
Yes.
I forget what drags her out there. Maybe she's hearing somebody call her name or something.
I think I thought, maybe I missed that. I thought she was kind of just getting into her mom's like flow. Like, what were you doing, Mom? Like, why were you out here? What were you, maybe like if I read the book, read the diary, and I'm where you were chilling, like maybe I can understand you better.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where she finds her dress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her wedding dress. She's making her daughter's wedding dress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think she was abused.
Louise?
Did you guys notice? Yeah.
Oh, I did not put that together.
It showed the mannequin face with like a bunch of stuff on it that looked like bruises.
Okay.
On the mannequin.
So abused by her spouse, you think?
Yeah. Or by the person
she was
who was
abused
supposed
as a
to be
kid.
her spouse. No.
Oh,
that's what I thought.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. She's like looking at the dress and like, oh, damn, this fell apart kind of thing. And then it showed this mannequin that looked like it was covered in bruises.
Gotcha.
And then it also establishes the fact that like that guilt that comes from, or, again, that the obligation of helping family. It's like, here's my mom, like living her life. And she's still like willing to put all this effort into like enhancing like the quality of my life with this dress.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like
but that also
more to Louise.
If that is the case where she is abused, that could be another reason why she doesn't want to leave the farm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
Part of her, I think legitimately part of her is like, I don't want to leave my dad. Like that is 100%. Yeah. But like, there's probably like another little bit.
But it's compounded by all this other stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right.
It's a good interpretation. Good catch.
Thank you.
But we see that shadow.
That's why, guys, I love this podcast because there have been times where I have come out of a movie. I think it was X was a good example where I didn't hate it. It just wasn't.
Zach and I hyped it up.
Resonate
like
with
Zach
me.
and I loved it.
You hyped the fucking shit out of it. Like you guys were like making me say things I just was not aware of, and I came out of that like, fuck yeah.
I do like that movie.
I do like that movie. That movie was super good.
Hey, it's a good movie, Who am I here?
Who am I?
A fan of X? What is this?
What am I?
It was dark. It was wicked.
X-Men? Is this Mutant Academy? Am I now an X-Man?
It's the.
What's it called? I didn't get it right. Is it Hogwarts? That's right.
No. Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
That's right. That's right.
Mutant Academy.
What is
You
this
sound like
here?
a real dumbass now, Zach.
Oh God.
That's funny.
Okay. So then, we meet the priest. The priest comes to the door. He's like outside in the rain, and he's like, "Hey, I came to talk to you." And they talk, and this is where he mentions like, "I told her like I was here for your mom. I told her the truth." And then Michael was like, "You told her your truth," which is not true. But then the priest is like, "Well, you told her your truth," which I don't think is true. And so you get into this whole debate. And like, that's why these movies with like God and the devil are so good.
Yeah.
And maybe not all of them go to this in this direction, but like when you question like what is real is the, you got the people who are like, God doesn't exist. And then you got the people who are like, God does exist. And, everybody thinks they're right. And so that's a nice conflict.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, he doesn't, just to clear anything up.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Set the record straight.
Who knows?
See, here we go again.
Who knows?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I don't believe he exists, but somebody else might believe, and like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe who knows? I don't fucking know.
I believe that there is the possibility that something beyond our comprehension exists.
I wish I believed that.
But
God, this podcast episode's getting wicked dark.
No,
it's
let's
getting
move
wicked
on.
dark, man. I do wait. What's pretty dark is the fact that we jumped over a reveal.
Did we?
How did I have an extra reveal? And
Well,
you guys
one of your
what the-
reveals was
what,
the
like
spider
20?
coming out of his mouth. So,
well, this one counts
okay.
because this one definitely counts. It's when Louise wakes up and she's got lipstick all over her face.
You think that's a reveal, Danny?
That's not a reveal.
100%. Because then she gets a phone call from Virginia saying, "I told you not to come."
Oh yeah. See, I would call
So-
that a reveal.
Yeah,
but
but not the lipstick.
fucking lipstick part.
Okay, how are you not going to call this a reveal? Would you? Okay, no, I'm gonna rephrase this. You don't call this a reveal. In the movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer, when Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, Sarah Michelle Gellar, wakes up, and it's her first interaction with the fisherman. She wakes up, her hair's cut off. She's got, it says, "I still know," or whatever on the mirror, and she breaks it. Would you consider that a reveal in that movie for Helen?
The "I still know" part, sure. Just like we established the phone call, sure. But the hair being cut off, I don't know. This is actually, that's completely different.
She got her hair cut off.
That's completely different than lipstick on your face. I have lipstick on my face right now. Did the devil do it? I don't know.
I would not consider that a reveal in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Interesting.
Because it's something that like the monster is not revealed to her or to us.
Right.
But like
It's just
a
something weird that happened.
message from the monster is relayed to the character to kind of tell you like, I'm here.
I'm queer.
I scare.
Get used to
Get
it.
used to it.
Okay, then you know what? You know what would be good for this?
An honorable mention.
Our newly formed honorable mention category.
Yeah. Okay.
You're so close, Danny. You're so close.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
But Danny, why did you not? Okay, why did you not?
What?
You likened it to I Know What You Did Last Summer, where they write lipstick on the mirror, but you didn't liken it to our last movie we just watched, where she smears lipstick all over her face and sticks the lipstick in her boob.
It wasn't that a reveal in the movie?
No, we did not count it as in our Night of the
We
Demons
didn't.
episode.
God damn. Do I ever pay attention to anything in these episodes? I think I'm just here, but I'm not here.
You just kind of biffed it this week. It's fine.
All right. Well, our next official reveal, okay,
Actually.
is what I call the Rob Thomas effect, when the when the priest is outside their house at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
He must have been lonely.
He must have been low.
It's 3 a.m. and I must be lonely. Oh.
So we do get our Rob Thomas effect with the priest outside the house, outside the house at 3 a.m.
It's 3 a.m. I must be lonely, lonely. Yeah, and she said, baby.
Oh, nice.
I can't help myself.
God, Rob Thomas. Anyways.
The rain's gonna wash away, I believe it.
Nice, Danny. Nice. But the priest is outside and they said, like, what's he doing out there? It's 3 a.m. He must have been fucking lonely. You're so right. But it's cool because this was a fun little reveal because Michael's about to go out there and Louise is like, wait, don't, hold on a second. And then she shines the flashlight and he's got those eyes and it's just like, fuck.
Spooky, scary.
I was surprised Michael wasn't more skeptical of what he was seeing after having seen his mom, but I guess the priest isn't dead, so.
I think that he's, I also think that he's like trying to be a man because he kind of has this like not super alpha male-ish thing going on, but a little bit, you know. Mm-hmm. So like he doesn't tell Louise about seeing his mom right away because he doesn't want to be perceived as like weak or like something is wrong with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that that's probably part of it.
It's a great read on it because it's ironic that he'd be the one who ultimately bails in the end.
Right.
Well, that's a part of the reason I loved these characters was that like when he finally does tell her that he saw his mom previously, he's like he is this like alpha male, like you were talking about, like this man. But then he's like, it was fucking scary, Louise. And I was like, yeah, it's it's scary.
Yeah.
Just that he had that moment of like, man, it was scary. And that's where you start to see him kind of be like, I don't think I want to be here anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually can't handle this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a character we've met in the movie previously, but we haven't talked about him yet, is Charlie, who is like, I guess like a ranch hand. He kind of like works with the family to help run the farm. So when the priest is outside, the phone is ringing and Michael's like, don't answer it. And Louise goes and takes the phone off the wall and unplugs it. But it's really Charlie calling to be like, I need some fucking help here. Pick up the phone. Because he's seeing shit. And what he sees in the next scene here is Demon Louise, like all cut up and doing all this shit. And is it like it's like speaking a bunch of different voices, right?
Yeah.
And he just like can't take it anymore, or I don't know why.
She keeps stabbing herself and cutting herself.
Yeah.
And she slits her throat.
And he like knows that it's a force. He knows it's not Louise.
Right.
I think
so.
Yeah. But he takes his own life. And one thing I read about this movie, which I didn't put together, all the deaths in this movie are suicides.
Huh. Interesting. So that's that kind of lends itself to the interpreting this movie as, we're talking about elevated horror and the distinctions. So it's like, was it all in their head? Is this just like,
well,
how it feels?
In like Catholicism and Christianity, if you commit suicide, you do not go to heaven.
Right. Right.
So.
Well, that's part of the thing where it's like his mom didn't like kill herself to like escape.
Right.
Like the devil was
he's
like,
driving them
do
to
this
do it so that he can have them.
I get your soul.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But I didn't think about that with Charlie. I didn't think about it that way, I guess.
Yeah.
I just was thinking about him being freaked out and stuff, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, at the end too, Michael, but.
Right. But yeah, no, that's a really good point, Casey. So Michael and then encounters his mom in the barn. That's the next reveal that I have.
Yeah.
Yep. Same.
He goes out there and he has his pocket knife.
But she kind of attacks him. But is he the one? I wasn't sure if I was just seeing it wrong or if I looked away or something, but he's holding the knife against himself, right?
Yeah. She wants him, the devil again. It's just what we talked about. The devil wants him to kill himself.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like tricky, like if they're implying that, but then kind of setting it up as though like she had the knife and then all of a sudden you look and he has the knife, or if I just missed something. So
nope.
I guess either way, it's still.
Yeah, but he was strong enough to resist.
Yeah.
This time.
And I think part of that is like why it's so heartbreaking when he does finally take his own life, because he was strong enough to withstand all this, but then the devil still is a tricky little shit, and
the devil always wins.
Still found a way to
like
get
his
him.
mom dying and his dad being terminally ill was bad, but it wasn't quite enough to do him in.
Right.
But his kids and his wife.
Oh my God, that
was just
scene.
too much.
Oh
yeah, that was too much.
That was, and it's just.
I'm glad that it flips
just enough.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the fact that it was, spoiler alert, well, a fantasy. Not a fantasy, you know what I mean?
Well, we've talked about this before, that like a fantasy is just something that you in your
fantasize.
head. Yeah.
So I'm glad that, I think if they ended and that was like legit, I would have been like, okay, movie. Oy, too much.
Yeah,
so
but it almost makes
pulled
it
the punch a little bit.
And I don't know why. I don't know if it makes it, maybe darker isn't the right word to use, but it makes it worse almost when you find out that they weren't really dead.
Yeah, of course.
It's just a different flavor of disturbing, you know?
Yeah, right.
If they were all dead, it's so nihilistic and horrific in that way. And that's the trickiness of the devil in this movie, is that he obviously did that on purpose. But it also ties into Michael as a character, as someone who, he acts first. He doesn't think, look before leaping, kind of like with Louise. They kind of established that. Like, he leaves without even communicating. If he had just waited a second and considered what was happening, maybe he would have seen his wife come in the door.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And it ends up being his
a trait.
weakness.
Well, he does chew tobacco.
It is.
So.
It is. Alpha males are not. Usually they're pretty weak. That's the problem. Anyway.
The physical strength does not equate to, considered, I don't know, emotional strength. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like the big truck thing. Big truck, small penis.
Big truck, small wiener.
I always laugh at that whole idea of the guys. Did we talk about that on this podcast, where like the trucks that have the balls hanging off the back? And it's just so funny because like you're kind of implying that you have like a tiny ball sack, which is fine.
Why? Because the truck is huge,
but
and the balls
idea
are
is that
small.
they're trying to be so manly, but their truck is huge with this tiny little package. It's just ironic and funny, and it makes me giggle.
It's gross.
All right, so. Okay, so Michael encounters his mom in the barn. We talked about that. The next reveal I have is the devil in the bed with Louise. When Louise is sleeping next to her father to take care of him in the night, and she starts hearing something like...
Would this also be an honorable mention?
No,
this is...
Because it's a dream.
What drugs are you on, bro?
But she wakes up. She's dreaming it.
She's not.
She literally looks up, sees her dad, and then like jumps, and she wakes up in the morning.
Yes,
like, oh, shit.
You think the devil can take souls, and the devil can possess people, and the devil can use people as a vessel, but you don't think that the devil can make you fall asleep and wake up? Danny.
Okay. Well, if the devil can make you wake up and all that jazz and like mess with your head, then how are we? Oh my God. Lipstick on the face.
Okay.
Is so much crazier in my eye. If I woke up if I woke up with lipstick all over my face.
You think that's worse than hearing a man crawl on top of your dad and demon rape him in your bed?
That is not what I'm saying.
And then you see your dad floating on the ceiling. Lipstick is worse?
I'm not saying that.
Daniel!
I'm comparing lipstick on the face to waking up from a nightmare that could or could not have been real.
It wasn't a night.
But I'm saying it's not the scenario. Yes, if she had not had like the whole like, if she had not snapped awake, implying that it was a nightmare, then yes, 110%.
It was not
the demon
a
coming
nightmare.
in. But I'm saying if they had removed that part of that little moment where she wakes up, implying it's a dream.
The devil wanted her to think it was a dream.
I understand that, but
what you're saying does not make any sense.
Let me
Zach, I know you're on my side.
Well, no, Casey, I am on your side, but I also see where Danny's coming from, where I think he's talking in terms of the filmmaking.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
If they didn't put that scene with her waking up.
We're not making a film. We're watching it.
they're implying it's a dream. They're implying it. She believes it is. So what I'm saying is, in the context of a character meeting a monster, if I were to wake up from a really horrible thing that may or may not have been a dream, compared to waking up with lipstick all over my face, I would think that waking up with lipstick all over my face would be more disturbing than just waking up from a disturbing dream, is what I'm trying to say.
No, because your dad's got the lipstick in bed with him. Your dad's a fucking weirdo.
But he can't walk.
Yeah, she already saw him. She already thought he got out of bed.
I'm so confused.
She swore that he got out of bed.
He can't.
No, I know that.
Okay.
But that's another thing. That's another implication.
Implication. Implication.
Version.
That's another implication, right?
Casey's so heated she can't talk.
Speaking another language.
So it is implied that she thinks her dad can also walk because she swears that he was out of the bed. She says that more than once. So it would also imply that she thinks her dad can put lipstick all over her face while she's sleeping.
And it is also implied that she thinks her dad can Spider-Man on the ceiling.
I was going to say, but do you know what can't be real? Her dad floating on the ceiling.
But why? But why would the devil even care to be like, I'm going to make her think it was a dream?
Are you? What? Because he's got it.
Everything has been so explicit.
Do you
I've
not
shown
understand?
up with like white eyes.
He's
I've been
playing
singing in the
games
corners.
with these people, Danny. You don't think he's having fun?
But that feels like a first act scare and first act like implementation of my powers as opposed to a second act.
But
like,
now
why
he's
make it feel? Just be like, I'm here. Like, I'm literally crawling over you. I can do whatever I want. Still scare you. And I just don't understand the motivation. I don't understand the devil's motivation here, I guess. I love the scene. I thought it was terrifying. I counted it as a reveal. I don't think it's a dream. I actually think it's a legitimate thing. All I'm saying is, yeah, I don't know.
Then why did we just talk about that, Danny?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, Danny. I do. And I think it's like we're that far into the movie. It's almost like, why use that filmmaking technique or that thing? It's like, oh, was it a dream or was it not a dream when we're this far into the movie?
It's exactly presented as a fake out and we're literally about
presented as a fake out to who? To the audience? Because to me it's not a fake out for the audience at all.
No, it's presented to her, to Louise, as a fake out.
Right,
yeah.
But she already basically knows it's.
But you're talking about the devil
happening.
doing whatever the fuck he wants.
I totally agree. And the devil is, and we can agree to disagree. And I think that's absolutely fine and great. Well, Danny,
are you talking in terms of a choice that was made by the filmmaker?
I think both. Because I also am curious, like, what the devil is and like the story is like what his. I could read it as different ways. I could say, because I agree with Casey that the devil is like a trickster and he's like fucking with. And at this point, he could be just trying to fuck with Louise and being like, you've seen all these things, but I'm still going to make you doubt what you're seeing by treating it as like a nightmare.
So Danny, I see where you're coming from. But I do want to, now that we've now there's like been like a little calm coming over us.
Yes.
Now, Casey, I want to hear your take on this scene.
Oh, for me, specifically me.
Specifically you, because I know you had mentioned in the heat of battle a moment ago that you love this scene so much. So I want to hear what you have to say about this scene.
This scene is scary.
Yeah,
that's like
it is.
It's really scary.
That's the equivalent of like at the end of Idle Hands, where like you're waiting for this big finale, and then you throw the knife, and it just goes up in a puff of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
No, this part genuinely scared me. It even scared me. Like I think Thursday, Friday, whatever day I watched this fucking movie. It was like the 5th or 6th time I'd watched this movie, and it still scares me.
Yeah.
It's still scary, and we haven't talked about the performances in this movie, but they're all really good.
Oh, they're so good.
I agree.
Yeah, and Louise is so scared, and I buy it, and she's like gripping her hands together, and you can hear how hard she's gripping her hands together and how she's breathing. And then you can also hear the demon guy crawling on top of her dad to demon rape him. And you hear his breathing, and you can just hear like weird little and the creaking of the bed when he's crawling on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Danny, and I don't know if you were going for this, but I do want to talk in terms of like filmmaking, because in the next reveal, which is Charlie's granddaughter comes to the door, and
this also
at first we think it is. We think she's there to tell Louise about Charlie, but then we find out it's actually the devil, and he's like in the house, and he's in one corner, and then he's in the other corner, and then Louise has fallen, and she's like crawling backwards, and then all of a sudden the granddaughter is like right beside her, right?
Yes.
So here's how I will tie it back into our last reveal, where Danny, you were like, it's weird that he made it imply like it was a dream, right? It made it seem like it was a dream. Because in terms of filmmaking, like, how do you get out of that scene to continue the movie? Like, the dad's on the ceiling, and then it's like, okay, if she doesn't wake up from a dream, like, where do you go from there? That has to be like, this is all happening right now. Right. But by waking up from a dream, it's just for us as the audience to be like, okay,
scene's over.
That was scary. Scene's over. We're moving on. Right.
I guess you could have. Was that a rhetorical question?
Oh, sorry. Well, because so in terms of Charlie's granddaughter, it's like, I made a note of this while I was watching it, because I'm like, and this happens in lots of movies, but this is the first time I really like picked up on it. It's like, okay, she's crawling away from the granddaughter, and then all of a sudden, for the audience to get scared, they put the granddaughter right next to her. But then what the fuck is she crawling away from as she's looking? What is off screen that she's crawling away from, because the granddaughter is now right next to her? So, do you know what I mean? And so it's a scare just for us.
It's like the devil has a jump scare button. It's like I can cut.
And so like him, making it seem to Louise like it was a dream with her dad on the ceiling. Like, I think that's just for us as the audience, because there's no way out of it.
Right.
In terms of filmmaking, unless you just like make that go into the climax of the movie.
Well, because that's another thing.
Am I making any sense?
Yes,
100%.
because it's the same.
Okay.
It's the same as all these hallucinations too, though. The quote unquote dream is exactly the same as everything else, if you think about it, because they're all hallucinations according to them. So having a dream is exactly the same. But instead of her like getting out of bed and running into a different room and coming back and everything being normal, she just quote unquote wakes up from a dream.
I think that's the convenience of like a demon movie. We talked about this in Night of the Demons in our last episode, was that they have this ability that is very convenient for scares, where they can kind of manipulate reality. So it could literally be, and I made a joke about like jump scare abilities and jump scare powers, but like she actually could have just transported,
Okay.
So
so you're saying like she was looking at her the whole time until like the blink of an eye, and she's beside her.
And then she was there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or maybe she was in two places at once, and she, like, because that could have just been like, to Casey's point, like a version of a hallucination, or, for lack of a better word, for some demonic word, hallucination, or
whatever a demonic hallucination. But God, motherfucker.
Yeah, whatever the equivalent of a demonic hallucination is. A hallucination.
We can't speak.
It's not a hallucination.
Super hallucinated.
I was tripping balls on this movie.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. So, okay. Well, we can move on then, I guess, to the nurse.
Well, okay.
Oh, that's right. Why didn't I didn't count that as a reveal.
Daniel.
That's like the big bad reveal.
Yeah. The nurse who very clearly, she states like, you guys don't believe in God, but I do. And there's so much love in this. Like, you guys are protecting your dad with all the love you guys have for him. Like, protect him, like be here for him. And so she even lights that candle, to kind of ward off the evil spirit. And Doesn't work.
No.
The devil still gets her, and she...
Spoiler alert. She dies.
Which is funny because candles always solve my problems.
Me
Literally.
too.
If I'm in a bad mood and I've got like a scented, my log cabin candle or my book club candle or oof.
I have probably 35 candles.
Man, I need to get more. I need to up my candle game.
The Band-Aid for the soul.
I've got a problem. Yeah, I've got a problem. I have one right now that's lit in front of me. It's rose ganache.
Ooh, ganache. Sounds like a sneaker. Sounds like a boot.
Like
that's
chocolate?
galosh.
Yeah,
It's a galosh.
Chocolate galosh.
It's rose ganache, not rose galosh. Okay.
Gouache. But yeah, the nurse gets possessed and she uses her, are they knitting needles? Crocheting needles?
Yeah, knitting.
I wrote knitting needles.
Knitting?
Yeah.
Knitting needles.
And
Crochet
she,
is just one hook.
Oh, okay. So knitting needles, and she does a lot of stabby on her selfie. It's a lot of,
and it's
ouch.
horrible because she's in pain. It's not like she's possessed and like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she is possessed, but like, it's not like, like
She's still
Evil
in
Dead
there.
where like they cut themselves and they're like, haha, like laughing. The screams are so horrific.
like she just, she can't stop. It's like the devil.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. And she attacks Louise and pulls her out into the living room, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like the devil, like getting Louise away from the dad?
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean? Like, why, if she pulled her out there, then why did she stop? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Now, is this where, when Louise wakes up, is this where she calls Michael?
Yeah, and
I
he's
think
on
we
his
go
way.
right. Or,
Okay.
Yeah, I think no. Louise finds
she
out
calls-
about Michael before the nurse.
Yeah, like we hear the nurse like listening to their conversation as she's
really?
like, "You
Okay.
left me," and then the devil's like, haha, they're like, "Good for me, I got rid of another one." And we see some more spiders like crawling across the nurse's face.
Oh, yeah.
But here is my honorable mention. My honorable mention was Michael seeing his family when he gets home.
Okay.
Because it's not really like seeing the monster or whatever, but the devil is playing a trick on him. And so that's why I counted it as an honorable mention. I don't know.
Yeah.
Danny's like, that's a fucking straight up reveal.
What about the lipstick?
No,
All these kids are covered in lipstick.
I'm not gonna say anything. It's gonna.
But he does. It's it's that awful moment when he does see his family dead, kills himself,
He gives him.
and that's the devil ultimately followed him. Which that's kind of where I brought up my original question, where it's like,
Right.
was the devil with them all the time and like brought them, but it's kind of like he went to the farmhouse and brought the devil
it
back
back.
with him,
Yeah.
a piece of the spirit.
Yeah.
But that was my honorable mention. We'll move on to our very last and final reveal. The big,
It's the biggin.
The biggin. The devil wins.
He sure do.
The devil fucking wins, and he gets Louise. The dad dying. Oh my gosh. Oh god, I don't want to talk about
So
it,
good.
but like I cried a bit because it's like, I don't want to talk about it, but like,
Okay.
Nope.
Then no.
It's okay.
We're good.
nope. I thought I could talk about it, but I can't talk about it.
It's
Okay.
So then, ooh,
You okay? Need a second?
It's okay.
no,
Take a
Think
second.
happy thoughts. This movie's so happy. Think about.
it's super dark and wicked.
Think about. Oh, I just thought of another honorable mention actually, but
What?
Ooh,
it's too late now.
okay. So yeah, the devil wins. He gets Louise. He gets the dad, right?
Yeah.
That's what he wanted the whole time.
Yeah.
And if Louise is there, and like the nurse is like, there's so much love here. Is it just like that there wasn't enough love because it was just Louise?
Probably.
The devil worked it down so much.
That's what my only issue with this movie, I think, was the ending, because they did establish that, and she did, for such a dark movie, I actually thought that would have been the one element where maybe there was a little more give, I guess.
Yeah.
Because she was giving all of herself, the fact that she was willing to give that sacrifice and all of her time to her dad, I thought that would do something. But I guess if this is supposed to be kind of like an allegory for grief and like the toll that all of this takes, then it doesn't matter how much you give, it's still going to consume you.
Yeah.
Right. And the person's still
So
gonna
I
die
think it could have
eventually.
ended either way and it would have worked.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is just the more brutal take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, like life is brutal. And like, that's like Casey, like you said, like the person's going to die, like no matter what. And it's kind of like,
It's a lot like, it reminded me a lot of the ending of Smile, where it's like you wanted them to get through this, but
No.
ultimately, because
we didn't.
the thing is supposed to represent it. Well, it is. Okay, well,
We loved
personally,
the end
I
of Smile.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying I don't like the ending. I'm just
Oh, I
saying
know.
when
It
you're like
ended
following
exactly-
a character, it
It
ended,
ended
how it
exactly
needed to
how
end.
I wanted it to end.
Yeah.
I wanted.
Yeah.
That's how I wanted
And for it to
end.
stick the landing of what it was trying to say, it needed to end that way. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like you are
yeah.
following a character, you want the best for them, but then realize that to serve the story, there needs to be this very specific type of sacrifice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it'd be cheating.
Okay. Well,
was
that's
dark.
it, guys. That
That's
was
it.
fucking dark.
That was fucking dark.
That was
That was
pretty
fucking wicked. Fucking wicked, Doc.
Okay. Well, now let's talk about our favorite reveals in The Dark and the Wicked.
What's going on here?
I don't see anything anywhere.
That's how they get you. They're under the goddamn ground.
I'll go first. Technically, mine's not a reveal.
Just to be fair, Casey, he counts it as a reveal.
I'm just being funny. I'm just being
I know.
silly.
I know.
My favorite reveal is the demon dad, Louis'
Yeah.
bed, because it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. Oh man.
I also
don't-
really like the first one because like Danny missed it, you know what I mean? And I just love how it literally is that quick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Can I pick an honorable mention as the winner?
Sure. We make the rules
well-
here.
Well, that's what I'm gonna like. That scene is so awful with Michael coming home and seeing his family, but like that was like the biggest gut punch for me. Is when you find out it's fake and whatever. And
Yeah.
but do you count that as the best reveal just because it was a gut punch to you, or do
Yeah.
you just in terms
think
of
This is
the?
a
Totally subjective.
my
Okay.
favorite
What-
reveal was the
That
one that
clearly
made me
resonated
scared.
with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's my favorite reveal. My honorable mention of Michael getting home is my favorite. Danny, what about you?
The lipstick scene.
Yeah, that's a good one.
From Night of the Demons, right?
Yeah, not from this movie.
The lipstick,
No, my
the lipstick
favorite,
scene from I Know You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, my favorite reveal was actually Michael's room scene. Specifically, you know what got me the most when that scene was the lights turning on.
Yeah.
Something about how harmless it felt, and then just like simple little sound design choices, like the switch on the light switch was so like clicky, and it just kind of I don't like almost like it hurts a little bit. Like it's this jarring thing in the middle of the night when you're comfortable, and the fact that there's just someone there like disrupting you. And it also felt a little bit, I don't know if maybe subversive is a little dramatic, but the fact that usually it's the lights going off that's scary, and the fact that the lights turning on had just as big of an impact. Just, I don't know, it stuck with me. And then I liked this, seeing the mom outside. I could have easily done with just the light and maybe hearing her singing. I'm not trying to criticize it. I'm just like that. I'm just trying to say like that alone, just those little like implied moments were just as scary and effective. So Yeah, I really like that scene a lot. That was my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, well, now it is time for a segment that we like to call The Real Monster.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. You're a monster. I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others? Eat me!
You guys, I only have one real monster this episode. This was a pretty solid movie, and it's tough to find.
Yeah, there wasn't anything like corny about it, really.
Yeah.
You could be like, look at that haircut.
And I'm going to go with, kind of, Casey, you were talking earlier about alpha males and all that. And I'm going to go with fucking chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Chewing tobacco is my real monster. Like fucking, they're sitting on the porch and he just fucking he picks up his glass to spit in. And it's just like, ugh, I just want to gag.
I have some horror stories about that, but I'm not. It would actually be too disturbing to tell.
Yeah, we're gonna skip those.
I just kind of want to set that up so it's just in your head.
Thank you, Danny.
It's implied, like the lipstick scene.
It's an implausion. It's it's impersonation. Danny, what do you have for real monster?
I have two.
Okay.
One is snot rockets. As devastating as that scene was, Michael shoots quite a wad out of his nose.
When does that happen?
When he's kind of on the ground before he slices his throat. It's totally warranted. I'm honestly just doing
vomited a little bit
to be funny. Oh. Yeah, it's right before he vomits. The snot comes out, but it's like a projectile snot.
Sure.
You said snot rockets, and I heard it's not rockets, and I was like, what are you talking about?
The real monster is not enough rockets.
Not enough rockets.
I'm watching a demon movie. I need at least someone mentions a rocket.
And what's your second one, Dan?
In this movie, contextually, for what the snot rocket, the purpose that it serves, yeah, totally warranted.
Understandable.
In general, ugh.
Yeah.
And then vegetable chopping and dicing techniques, not great in this movie.
Yeah.
Do better.
True.
Yeah, so bad
True.
she missed the vegetable completely.
She missed
and then she was so embarrassed that she's pretended it didn't happen and kept going. She's like, well,
I gotta hide it.
She's humming the Jesus song, mixing her fingers in with the carrots.
Looking around to see if anybody saw her.
Mom, is your salad recipe a little different? No, it's just tastes like fingers.
Blood.
It's finger looking good.
It's like a bloody. That's finger looking good.
Oh God. Casey, who's your real monster? Or what
So there's only
monster?
one thing that I don't like about this movie, and you guys could probably know what it is. And it's
Danny's
the CG.
commentary.
No, I loved your commentary. It's just the use of CG instead of practical effects, but it wasn't bad enough to where I obviously everything else about this movie is so good that it doesn't really matter to me. But I had to pick
Sure.
something.
Yeah. I didn't
Overuse of CGI in general.
I did not care for the when the dad shows up at the shower and his face is shaking.
Yeah.
Just in general, I don't care for that effect. They do it in the It movies and stuff
it always
that.
feels like a studio note, doesn't it? It feels like a last minute the director's this is my movie, it works really well, and they're if we could just get a little bit more gusto.
A weird little
and it's damn it.
shake.
Yeah.
Because there was another scene, and again, it wasn't bad, it didn't take me out of it, but it just, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was the mom when she does, I loved that scene in Michael's room, and then there was they ended it on a creepy button. I was like, oh, you didn't need it. Didn't hurt it. It's fine. I didn't need the jump because I was already pretty freaked out.
Yeah.
So then I'm now left with that rather than left with this feeling that
The actual creepy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Those are good. Those are good real monsters.
Agreed.
And you guys, that's the Doc and the Wicked.
That's the Doc and the Wicked.
That's it. That is our second feature in our Under the Influence triple feature, covering possession movies. Overall, really good fucking movie. A little too dark for my taste to keep it in a regular rotation of movies I like to watch, but
like we mentioned, next week we'll be diving into a movie that kind of has its feet in both it's fun. It's got the uppity energy, but also it's a little dark.
Okay.
I think
I've yet
this
to see it.
movie-
I still have to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say why, but this movie is actually very similar to. Talk to Me in the Dark and the Wicked are very similar.
Okay.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see it because I know Talk to Me has a lot of it's pretty popular.
It's fine.
So
It's pretty good.
Thanks, Casey.
It's okay.
Thanks, Casey. It's okay. It's
whatever.
right.
It's like fine. Like I'll watch it, but
perfect. Now I can go into it just like on an even level.
I mean,
That's
it's
great.
not.
So yeah, our next episode, our next and final feature in our Under the Influence triple feature is Talk to Me. So we are excited about that one. But if you guys are fans of The Dark and the Wicked and you will have anything else to say about it, find us on social media, send us an email on our brand new email address, howimetyourmonsterpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll be happy to answer those questions and comments. And we might even read some on the next episode. Yeah.
Like a monster mailbag?
Yeah, it's a monster. It's the monster mail. Yep. It's monster
How
mail.
I Met Your Mail.
But you can also find us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X. So you can find us on all of those platforms. And where can our listeners find you two lovely hosts on social media?
I'm on Instagram at WolfMotherCasey.
Nice. Danny?
And I'm on various social medias at my name, Danny Slim. It's DANNYSALEMME. 2 M's like the candy, melt in your butt, not in your hands. Sometimes
Wonderful.
there's a Miller. Sometimes I'm gonna slowly kind of like ease out.
Sometimes
of explaining that.
Sometimes there's a Miller up your butt.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. I was thinking it, but didn't go there.
Sometimes there's an M&M, sometimes there's a Miller.
Oh gosh, I got too
Look
real
at Danny
for a
turning
second.
into a tomato. Danny's blushing.
I messed up my contact saying that. That's
You're
so
so
Oh
bad.
god.
Mom, I'm blushing.
Why are you What do you mean, why are you blushing?
It's fine. We're talking about sex, Danny. It's okay. We're all
Sex.
adults.
Let's
Danny.
talk about sex, baby.
It's a good thing. It's us and dolphins.
Because dolphins have sex for pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're the only other animal.
I think they're
what
the only
am I
other.
missing?
They're the only other animal that has sex for pleasure. Yeah.
That's funny.
But okay, and you can find me on social media at Zach Winsick. And yeah, make sure to tune in for our next episode. Talk to me. And until then, thank you all for listening. Now go meet some monsters.